Broadcasting live from Barry's Land on the plane of mystery. This is Tap Tap Concede. Hey everybody, Graham here.
What up? I'm Nelson.
And if you listen carefully, you can just hear James over in the corner.
Hi.
Some say he still haunts these halls.
He was closer, but we just kept pushing his desk further and further back.
Yeah, Cameron's not with us this week as he is unwell. And this week he has a cold.
Oh,
Huzzah!
good thing Cameron doesn't watch this podcast.
He would appreciate that. That's true.
Yeah, he'll never hear that.
We don't watch our content. Welcome, everybody, to Tap Tap Concede, where we will be looking at part 3, the conclusion, or the other conclusions, I guess, of the mythical origins of Theros, as we've been doing for the past couple weeks. I mentioned at the end of last episode, I was like, maybe we'll do a week of something else and then come back and finish it off.
And y'all came out in droves.
Yeah, the comments were strong, and we're here for it. So thank you.
Interactive TV. You made it happen.
Yeah. But we are going to crack a pack this week, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Magic I played at PAX East. But first, we will remind you that this show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. There we go. Whew.
We did it.
I guess it's been like a week and a half since we did the last one because we recorded it on Tuesday. So I'm
Graham's rusty.
I'm medium out of practice,
We're all
I guess.
rusty. Yeah, exactly.
Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. That puts our little affiliate code on there, which tells them we sent you. And we do that because we think Card Kingdom is great. And you can tell them, loading ready, run sent me, button please. And they will give you a little 1-inch button, which I believe is still, that has reach?
That has reach?
Yeah. What? Reach. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Let's crack a pack. Let's get into it because we haven't done a crack a pack for a couple of weeks because we've had so many myths to discuss.
I just broke the moon base.
You're fine. Two. It is a pack of Battle Bond. This is from, it's even written down on a post-it note, from Trevor Smith, PAX Aus 2018, supplier of XCOM and Harry Potter cards.
Neat.
Thank you.
I didn't even know there wasn't XCOM cards.
Or maybe it's the XCOM board game?
Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe a supplier of XCOM.
Maybe we have XCOM cards.
What is punctuation?
Who knows?
Tell us, treasure.
First up, a mirror token. How are these packs organized?
Well, you got a token in front.
And then a forest. And then a
rare?
foil. And then a rare, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to there we go.
It's completely upside down and backwards because they're from Australia. These ones are from Australia, so they had to do it.
2 rares?
See what I did there?
Is there 2 rares in every pack of Battle Bond?
You know the problem with trying to tell a bad joke in a podcast is you don't even get the feedback of the room not laughing. So it's actually a little disorienting when you tell a dad joke and then it's like there's nothing. Like normally there's less than nothing. There's like a vacuum that you kind of bounce back off of for your timing. Anyways, yes, there's 2 rares if the Battle Bond pack includes 1 Partners With card. It will give you the other one.
Oh.
But if that's not what your rare slot is, then I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, I guess we'll find out when we get there. That, by the way, so that happened once in a pre-release. There was a moment where this was an older one. I guess it was Ether Revolt. We had Blake up here from Wizards of the Coast, and he made a bad joke, and everyone else in the room just no-sold it.
Right.
On purpose, right? So it was like everybody, including Blake, was in on it that he had made a dumb joke that was bad, and because everyone, including him, knew that it was a dumb joke that was bad, nobody reacted, right? And then he did like and like drank some water or something, right? It was a entertaining bit, which someone took out of context and sent to PewDiePie to respond to as like cringe compilation of like someone making a joke and it not landing. Because if you don't know that everyone in that room is comedians and friends who are all playing along with one another,
it seems like daggers, right?
It looks like everyone just ignored Blake doing this,
right?
But we did get a lot of extra views on the VOD for that particular pre-release, and a bunch of YouTube comments we had to remove. Strange viewership there.
There's that.
Lightwalker is our first card.
All right. We got flying sometimes if we can put +1/+1 counters on it.
That is exactly what this is. 1 and a white for a 2/1. And it has Human Warrior from Khan's block. And if it has a +1/+1 counter on it, it has flying. Or rather, it has flying as long as it has a +1/+1 counter on it.
Yeah, you can use my Dragon Breath as a bridge. If you trust it.
I guess. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Neat superpower.
Doomed Dissenter is next from Amonkhet block. It's a 1/1 human for 1 and a black, and when it dies, you make a 2/2 zombie. So it gets stronger.
Yeah. Two bodies for 2 mana, sort of.
I'll take it. Good in sacrifice shenanigans, or just as a blocker. It gets better.
Yep.
Champion of Arishin, 3 and a white for a 3/2 with lifelink.
Possibly the worst lifelink creature to still be kind of okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has lifelink.
I think speaking of Mystery Booster, I think I ran that in a Mystery Booster deck.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I need another card.
Yeah. No, I like this card so much less than 2/2 lifelink for 2.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely even like it less than 2/2 lifelink for 3. I would be into playing that card more than this card, but it's still just kind of like, yep, this is a card.
Sometimes it's okay.
Sometimes it's great. Most of the times it's meh, but you're going to try it.
Jungle Wayfinder is, a 3/3 for 2 and a green. Elf Warrior. When Jungle Wayfinder enters the battlefield, each player may search their library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into their hand, and then shuffle their library. I mean, yeah.
This was also like better in Battle Bond Draft than I immediately give it credit for. The issue of solving your opponent's mana problems or just giving them card advantage, the issue of giving your opponents a free card each is greatly mitigated by just guaranteeing that you and your partner are casting spells.
Yeah.
Like if your partner doesn't have lands and you can play Jungle Wayfinder, that might completely turn the corner for you in that game, as opposed to not getting to play that.
And it's a 3/3 for 3, so it's totally fine.
Yeah, the body's fine.
Yeah.
It's not super relevant body in Battle Bond Draft. Probably the champion actually matters more. But yeah.
Speaking of a 3/3 and mana, but this time it's a 3/3 for 4. That was a
we did it.
Strange segue.
I'm with you.
Stadium Vendors is a 3/3 for 3 and a red. It's a goblin. When it enters the battlefield, choose a player. That player adds 2 mana of any one color that they choose.
For the same reason as the last one, a solid playable.
Yeah, honestly. Just be like, look, I get a 3/3. Yeah, it costs 4 mana, but now you get to drop a 6-er.
Exactly.
This turn. Not bad. Saltwater Stalwart. Try saying that one. Boy,
is this unblockable?
It looks like it should be a palindrome, but it's not. It's 3 and a blue for a 2/4 Merfolk Warrior, and when it deals damage to an opponent, target player draws a card.
Right. This card's garbage.
But I could let you draw a card as my partner. I assume we're on a team since we both decided to wear blue sweaters today.
If you're exactly, yeah, we are wearing almost the exact same sweater.
Yeah, it fits the set very well.
Yeah. Can you guys even see us? Like, we're just invisible? We're just floating heads in this episode. Yeah, if you have a bunch of the make target creature with power 2 or less unblockable cards in your deck already, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, it's real bad.
Lead by example. 1 and a green for an instant. Support 2. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. I like combat tricks that stick around.
Yep, this card's fine.
Yeah, and generally speaking, with Two-Headed Giant, you're more likely to be able to get both counters out of it.
Absolutely.
Because you only get to put, if you only have one creature, it's just that one creature gets 1 counter.
That's right.
So
yeah. But even I remember in Oath of the Gatewatch draft, like 1v1, this card was fine.
What about the Cowl Prowler? It's
this
4.
Is just a dumb 6/6 for 6.
Sure
right?
is. It's 4 green for a 6/6 worm with flavor text.
Yeah. So in Two-Headed Giant draft, you include these if you have to.
Yep.
Like, it's way better than playing a random 3/3, right? Because the thing about Two-Headed Giant draft is unless one side gets hosed for mana or the other side just built blisteringly fast decks, you almost always get to like turn 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peace Strider, now a common, I realize. 4 mana, 3/3 construct. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Sure.
Yep.
Fine. Why not?
Some pretty medium packs so far. Very medium.
Our foil was a Solemn Offering. 2 and a white for a sorcery. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. You gain 4 life.
Great to have one of these in your deck because there's no sideboards in Two-Headed Giant.
Probably fine, yeah. This one you definitely want to communicate with your partner what on the order of operations of play here. Slum Reaper, which is 3 and a black for a 4/2, and when it enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature.
Yeah, good example of when it's appropriate to communicate lots, but you don't have to do it in secret. You can just very clearly talk to your partner that you're playing with in the same language that your opponents are playing with, and decide what you're doing with this card on the turn you're going to play it.
Yeah. I'm going to do this. No, wait. Let me cast this first. Then you cast that.
Exactly.
I see. Genesis Chamber is next. It's a 2-mana artifact. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, if Genesis Chamber is untapped, that creature's controller creates a 1/1 mirror. So there's no inherent way to tap the Genesis Chamber. So really, it just means anytime anyone makes a creature, they also get a mirror, including your opponents, unless you have a way to do this. I remember years ago,
This card's from Mirrodin. It's very old. Yeah.
Jer Petter had a deck involving Genesis Chamber.
Cool.
That he could tap it on.
You could tap it on his turn.
He would tap it to do stuff. He would cast creatures, get mirror, then tap it for some sort of value.
Yeah, from the same set, there's Clock of Omens, I think, where you tap 2 artifacts to untap another artifact.
Yeah, and then he would pass the turn, you would play a creature, not get a mirror, and then go back to him and it would untap and he'd get to do other stuff.
Yeah.
So
I don't know that there's a way to do that in this set. Maybe. I think it's stuffed in here because it slowly was creeping up in price. And also it's a really interesting...
It's kind of cool design.
Honestly, it's a bad card for this set.
Yeah.
But
actually,
it's great to put bad cards into a draft environment so that the players can learn that they're bad.
And you were correct. They are indeed partnered rares.
Okay, so
we have Korvoth Bright Flame, 5 and a red.
This pair is so strong.
Yeah, 5 and a red for a 3/4 with flying and haste. It partners with Sylvia Brightspear, and knights your team controls have flying and haste. And then, of course, Sylvia Brightspear is 2 and a white for a 2/2 with double strike, and dragons your team controls have double strike. Korvoth is the dragon, in case that wasn't clear. So Korvoth is a dragon and Sylvia is a knight, and so Korvoth gives Sylvia flying and haste, and Sylvia gives Korvoth double strike, meaning that as a combo, it's kind of busted.
It's pretty strong. They don't have hexproof or anything, but yeah, definitely in draft, this is a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's like a 2-turn clock.
Interesting word.
Right?
I hadn't noticed the wording on partner. When this player enters the battlefield, target player may put Korvoth into their hand from their library.
They needed to make it fit.
Rather than target player searches their library for a card named. Oh, interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, in the comp rules, the line for partner with, you can read exactly that.
Yeah, it's interesting too because it says partner with Sylvia Brightspear. When this creature enters the battlefield, target player may put Sylvia into their hand from their. They don't even do last names.
Yeah, exactly. They've mentioned Sylvia Brightspear earlier, so it's clear which Sylvia we're talking about, I guess.
We're all on the same page here, right?
But yeah, the design team or development team, I guess, needed to make it fit on the card comfortably.
Speaking of design, shout out to Carmen Sinek for the art, because I love how, Sylvia's card is easy. It's this is Sylvia, this is who this is. She's framed very clearly in the frame, and you can see that she's riding some sort of dragon thing, but the dragon isn't really in the shot. But on Korvoth, the dragon, it's hard to do a wide shot of a dragon and not show someone riding it. So just the way that the light plays in there's the array of light illuminating the wing and the head of the dragon. And Sylvia's there, but in shadow, so she's not a focal point of the art, is very impressive.
Yeah, that's very clever. Well done.
Also, absolutely, these are the first pick. They're bonkers.
And really just way, way ahead out of everything else in this particular pack of... there's a bunch of Battle Bond commons that you want that are really not here. There's sort of the beginnings of a green-white deck from this pack, but just none of the stuff you want. So yeah, you're definitely grabbing Korvoth Brightflame and Sylvia Brightspear, and then just being stoked that the rest of the table is getting nothing from this pack. Okay. Speaking of getting nothing, would
I
you
did
like
not
to
get any diseases from PAX.
Hooray!
But
We
I
came home.
Did get joy.
Okay.
No, PAX East was a lot of fun.
Graham came back with nothing but joy. Nothing is the topic of conversation here.
No, PAX East was a ton of fun, and shout outs to everyone who came by the booth to say hi, or our table, I suppose, in Bandland. That was a great time. We said hi to a lot of folks, did a lot of commerce, signed a ton of. I think I signed probably a dozen Ayulas this weekend.
Ayula, yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
get that bear.
Get him.
And we realized, I don't know why I didn't think of this ahead of time, but I realized that because it's a convention and Pastimes was running Magic tournaments, that we could do Mystery Booster Convention Edition there. And so, because of the way that it worked out, that Cameron and Corey were at the table in the morning, and Ben and I were at the table in the afternoon, Ben and I, in our mornings, could just go play Magic. So,
Value.
I ended up doing 3 Mystery Booster drafts over the course of the weekend, and absolutely dumpstered out of the first round of one of them, and then the other 2 split the finals.
Nice.
So feeling pretty good about that.
Well done.
Yeah, it was a super fun time. I had one deck that I tweeted a picture of. It was I had 2 copies of Evil Boros Charm.
That's what it's called?
Yeah, it's one of the playtest cards.
Yeah.
So it's got a Rakdos mana pip and an Orzhov mana pip.
Okay.
So you can cast it for Boros, or you can cast it for
black. Right, that's been a design thing, right? Because
Yeah.
black also has Lightning Helix. Right.
Yeah. So it's an instant, and you choose one. The three modes are it deals 2 damage to any target, and you gain 2 life. Unblocked attacking creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn, or you make a 1/1 colorless spirit token with lifelink and haste. Generally, this was just removal, but
Right,
kind of
yeah.
fun.
Most of the time it's Soren's Thirst, I suppose.
Yeah, and then
The spirit doesn't have flying, but it does have lifeline.
oh, that's a really good point. It doesn't have flying. Wow, I'm
Yeah.
glad I never used that because I
Well-
definitely thought it had flying.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Wow.
Hey,
all right.
great,
Cool.
But I wanted to say it doesn't have flying, which makes it even more likely that it just hangs out to be a shock to kill a creature, right?
And then the other one I had in the same deck. This was a primarily black deck. In fact, it might have been mono black. Now that I think about it, and I had Bone Rattler, which
Okay.
is so it's 3 black for a 4/4 skeleton. It's just a big dumb idiot. But when it dies, you exile it, and you put 4 reassembling skeleton token cards into your graveyard. I had to show my
Nice.
opponent what reassembling skeleton was. It's a 1/1. It's been reprinted in core sets a couple times. A 1/1 for 1 and a black, and when it dies, it just goes to your graveyard. But you can pay 1 and a black to return it to the battlefield tapped.
But it's a token, so the rules normally don't put tokens in the graveyard. So I'm guessing the way this works is it can come back from the graveyard once.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
If you go back to Bone Rattler, this is a special thing that some of the playtest cards do. These are token cards.
Oh, not tokens. They're
Yeah,
token
it says
cards.
on it token cards. This became very relevant.
I bet.
Because I had Revenant, which is a star flyer for 5. That's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard.
Okay.
And so I had to, I was like, wait a minute. My opponent was at 5, and I had a Revenant and 3 creatures in my bin. And then I went, hang on, judge, called a judge over. And I was like, now, Bone Rattler says token cards. So are these 4 reassembling skeletons creature cards? And he said, yup, that's what they are. So I went, great. So my Revenant is now actually a 7/7,
Dees.
which ended up being particularly relevant to the outcome of that game, which I won. So yeah, I assume then that because they are token cards, in this case, token simply means it didn't previously exist.
Right.
But a token card, I believe that it never came up, that if you reanimated a reassembling skeleton and it died, it would just go back to the graveyard.
Yeah, it sounds like if they're cards, then they could be unsummoned and put in your hand, or
Yeah.
time. What's it called? tucked back into your library with decks that do that. Condemned into your library.
So the other fun one that I had in a different draft, which got passed to me inexplicably, was Time Sidewalk. So it's 4 blue, sorcery, take an extra turn.
Okay.
That's it. But if you have it in your opening hand, then you can exile it, and you shuffle 4 Time Walk token cards into your deck, meaning that your deck just gets 4 copies of Time Walk in it.
Hot.
Yeah. Both times I...
You just had it in your opening grip every time? No, sorry.
No, the exact worst opposite.
Oh.
I was like...
Top deck it on turn 2? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I was like, well, this is a fine 7. I don't have Time Sidewalk. That sucks, but oh well.
Guess I'll keep.
Yeah. Keep. First card I drew was Time Sidewalk.
Right.
I cast it in one game.
Nice.
Which was surprising, but yeah, it's... afterwards, someone was like... I told someone what the card did, and they were like, oh... So do you just like aggressively mulligan to that? And I was like, oh, I should have. I hadn't thought of that.
I mean, like mulligans in limited are fairly punishing. So it's tough.
I also, in that same deck, I had Control Win Condition. You familiar with this one?
No. Oh, no, it's a big creature, right? Yeah.
So it's 6 mana.
I remember
it's like
now.
4 blue, can't be countered, Shroud. Star, its power and toughness are equal to the number of turns you have taken this game.
Right.
So it says, if this is in your deck, please keep track of your turns. This means you, Mark, is what it says. So I had to be like surreptitiously putting little hash marks on my life pad.
Right.
To try and not make it obvious that this card was in my deck. I'd be like, all right, Island, go. Just like writing it down so that eventually it was like, all right, so I've taken 8 turns. Yeah.
Did anyone catch you on it in a game 1 and like write down your card, like write down whale or whatever?
They didn't write it down, but maybe they figured it out. It's hard to be subtle on that particular one. But if you're really heads down in your own hand, maybe you don't really notice.
I bet one of you watching this just like knows which turn of the game you're on constantly. Like there's probably someone like that, right? And kudos.
Good for
That's
you.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah. The other, I'm trying to remember now, actually, the other deck that I ended up with, because I didn't take a picture of it, like a fool. The other...
That's probably also mono black.
Winning deck. No, it wasn't,
Okay,
but it was... this whole format is amazing. There's like 1,700 cards in it. So it's basically like... It's like a very good Chaos
cube.
Draft.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Draft,
It's like a Chaos Draft where you're not gonna look at a card and be like, well... I'm never going to get more energy or another creature with infect.
The classic Chaos Draft problem where like all the mechanics require you to have 3 packs of that set in order to make 4 or 5 of the cards from the pack work.
And the thing, like I don't remember the name of it, but it's the 4/4 crab from Kaladesh block that it has Defender, but if you pay 2 energy, it can attack like it didn't have Defender.
Right, but it gives you 2 energy when it comes
gives
in
you
or something.
4 energy.
Right,
so you can do that twice. And so it's like, that's fine, right? It's like a 4/4 Defender, and twice in the game I get to actually
attack. And it's like a
3-drop
or something, is that right? Or is there 4?
4, I think.
Okay.
But it's like, yeah, all right, that's fine. There's none of the cards that's like, yeah, this will actually be great if you have some other energy generation. It's never going to happen. And so that, cards like that aren't in the pool for Mystery Booster. But
well, good job, Gavin, and the whole team for putting this together. I can't wait to try it. It feels weird that the first Mystery Booster, like around here and like at conventions, was months ago. Yeah. And I still have to wait another week or 2. Is it next one? Is it this week? This month?
This month that they're releasing it in stores. Yeah. But not with the playtest cards, and instead with some apparently very cool foils, and they have not at time of recording announced what the foil sheet will be. So I look forward to finding that out. Nobody wanted to buy any of the playtest cards, even though they tend to sell for a couple bucks. None of the vendors wanted to buy them. One of them was like, they're too hard to keep track of, I just don't care. And the other one was like, we're only buying the Lotus or the Duck. And I was like, what a great sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think YJ might have sold like like bought and then sold a Sliv Mizzet or something like that?
That's
like,
the most expensive one.
okay, all right.
I
So,
believe so, yeah.
I don't know. If you still have them, you can drop them by the shop.
I'll bring them down, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Selvala, that's who I had. That one I did sell. I had a green primary deck in my second successful draft, and Selvala is very strong.
The green white one or the double green one?
The double green one. They're both in the set, as it turns out, or I think.
Okay.
I can't remember actually, but just the mono green one.
So Heart of the Wilds.
Yeah, so she's 1 green for a 2/3, and it's whenever any player casts a creature spell, or it might be ETB. Whenever a creature they control ETBs.
Yeah. If it's the biggest creature. Or something,
yeah, if it's the biggest creature, if it's the creature with if it has higher power than all other creatures, then its controller draws a card. And also for a green and tap, you add mana to your mana pool in any color. Or combination of color, in any single color, equal to the highest power creature you control. So I was able to play Selvala, and then untap, and then play a 4th land. Use that for her to just make 2 mana. So then I get to do a 5-drop on turn 4, and then it gets sort of got bigger and bigger out of there. Selvala is not a playtest card, by the way. She's just very good.
Yeah,
She's
from Conspiracy
2, right? Yeah. Watch the Throne. Yeah. So, I mean, this is just me talking about cool stuff that happened to my mystery boosters. It's super fun, and if you're going to be at a Magic Fest or a Command Fest or something, if those continue to happen, considering the current state of the COVID virus, then I highly recommend you wash your hands and do the mystery booster draft.
Yeah, do both those things.
Yeah.
Those are both great things to do.
By the way, as an aside, at PAX, everyone was taking that very seriously.
Okay.
No one was shaking hands.
Okay, Magic players have stopped shaking hands, which is pretty much a natural evolution for us anyway.
Yeah. But so like ordinarily at PAX, if you are trying to avoid general convention sickness, you can just be like, I'm not shaking hands or whatever. And sometimes people will be like, oh, okay. They might react a little weird to it. This weekend, everybody was like, oh, yep, nope, yep, not shaking hands. And the judges for this, they were like, all right, has everyone drafted before? Do you know how mystery draft works? The playtest cards are playable. Please zone draft. Does anyone not know what zone drafting is? Also, the coronavirus is a real thing. Every judge has hand sanitizer. Every table has hand sanitizer. Please use the hand sanitizer. Don't touch your opponents.
Cool.
It was like just part of the spiel. Everyone was taking it really seriously. It was great.
Good.
So, shout outs to Pastimes for running a tight ship at PAX East.
Sweet.
So let's talk about Greece.
Back to Theros and the origins of the myths and stories, histories, trinkets, oddities, landscapes, and journeys that we've seen playing out on the cards of Theros Beyond Death.
Wow, I want to hear David Attenborough read that as like the beginning of a documentary.
Well, yeah, good. Yeah, maybe you will. If we sell this to NBC
the
or
BBC,
BBC.
probably,
yeah, the BBC.
No, that was good. You pulled that out of just like, whoop, there we go.
I got to do something while you're playing
Pulling
all
my
these
phone
fun
out? Yeah.
while you're playing all these fun mystery drafts. Getting psyched up for this podcast.
This is part 3 of the real life mythical origins, which is to say the myths from our world that inspired the real world of Theros in the fiction of magic. What a great intro. These were notes put together by Aaron, aka Raber.
Thanks, Raber.
Edited by Raven Kennedy, who I got to meet at PAX. And we've been going through and talking about some of the inspirations for the designs of these cards. And it's been fascinating for me anyway. I'm a big fan of Greek myth. And so some of this stuff I knew and some of this I didn't know because Raber is a actual classics student. And I think I get the impression that they were going to do this anyway, and got a hold of me and were just like, "Hey, are you going to do another one of those episodes?" And I said, "Yes, I sure am." So they sent over all of these notes.
So here we are doing a joint.
Yeah. So now we're on to sort of like instants, sorceries, and other fun enchantments. Is basically how we're going to be finishing it up today. So let's start with Cara Metra's Blessing. There's a deer on the art, and potentially a reference to the Cyrenian hind, as found in the myth of the 12 labors of Heracles. Raber says that they mostly bring this up as a reference to a blessed deer with antlers. The deer was a female, but it was noted to have golden antlers like a stag, especially because it was fast enough to outrun arrows. And as you'll see in the art here, there's like a deflector shield.
Yeah.
That's the arrows and spears are bouncing off of it. But the point is the golden hind could outrun arrows. So this is, a similar kind of effect.
Golden Hind was also a card from Journey into Nyx, probably referencing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually a golden hind,
not from this set,
yeah.
but yeah, same inspiration maybe.
Yeah,
to get
it's interesting
that
that there are
and
some
Golden Hind
cards-
actually has some of my favorite art in all of Magic.
I do
don't
love the
mind
golden hind.
throwing down for that one.
It's like it leaves a trail of flowers behind it. I do like that there are sort of like a second try on a couple things. Like there's
Right.
multiple references to stuff. Like we've talked about, this is another reference to this singular thing, but like the Nemean lion, right? That we've got the bronze hide lion from the first from this
Fleece
one.
mane lion from the
Fleece
first
mane
one.
lion and the bronze hide lion
Yeah.
are both the Nemean lion. They're just different takes on it, which I think is kind of interesting. Because we said last episode that like in Greek myth there was like this is the one thing like this, and in Theros it's like we got lots of those.
Yeah, that's just a kind of one of these.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So memory drain. We mentioned that there's more than one river into the underworld, which actually was like fairly new information to me. But one of them is the river Lethe, which the dead would drink from in order to forget their former lives so they could be reincarnated.
Okay.
So sort of a reference here. The Alethos sat and stared blankly out over the glassy oceans of Neurono, trying in vain to remember what he knew he had forgotten. So it's sort of like, you drink from there, and then you're like, wait, why did I just forgot everything I ever knew. Huh.
Sounds frustrating.
That sounds like it would kind of mess you up.
But if your opponent
But then you don't care.
has to hold up mana and spend 4 mana to 1-for-1 you, then don't be too frustrated.
Yeah.
This card's not that good.
It sort of also references is also referenced kind of in Thirst for Meaning, sort of the opposite, which is that they're drinking from a river. On the card, they're drinking from a river to learn, not to forget, which that doesn't have an equal in Greek myth.
But there is this idea that the water holds the
Yeah.
knowledge of people, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Or or can wash it away.
Yeah.
Neat.
Drag to the underworld is a reference philosophically to the Greek concept of the morai, or the fates. Now, there actually was there's a magic card, I want to say from Ravnica, called morai.
Yeah,
I
the
think-
Moroi. Yeah,
Moroi.
Yeah, it was like a decent card for drafts. A 4/4 flying, and it pings you in your upkeep.
Yeah.
And it's a vampire. It's a kind of vampire. So, but that one, that's a different set of myths, right? Ravnica is supposed to be at least drawing on Eastern Europe, right? Like,
Yeah, I think they just used the name.
Okay.
'Cause it's a cool
Neat.
name. But anyway, the Morai, or the Fates. You have a set amount of time on Earth, and trying to struggle against it is pointless because you will die eventually. And while the gods can try to prevent it, such as note in the Iliad, Zeus is tempted to step in to save one of his demigod children from dying his fated death, but they're prevented from doing so by one another. Basically, the gods keep each other in check. So in that case, Hera points out the Olympians have all lost children, and if Zeus saves his son, then the whole pantheon's going to get upset. It's like, hey, you can't. No, Zeus, drop it, Zeus. Anyway,
good boy.
also the general idea of needing to be taken by death instead of just going to the underworld is sort of a similar thing. You see Erebos in the back there. It's like, no, it's your time now. Like if you just go,
That's just deeply human. People want to survive. We all cling to
but
life.
if you're just sort of like, well, it's my time, I guess I will go to the underworld. Then it's like, all right, cool. But if you're like, I don't want to go, then Erebos is like, no, you have to.
guess what? You get to go.
And then if you the stronger you resist, the stronger he pulls, and Erebos is going to win. Pharika's libation. A note on this one. This is somewhat of an inversion of the usual libation practice. Normally, a mortal would provide libations to the gods when the wine was served, pouring it into a specific bowl. But instead, here we have a god doing it, and it's not wine, it's poison. The flavor text indicates this is due to a lack of respect for Pharika, so this is more like an ironic punishment.
Oh.
So, yeah, if you will not pour your drink out for me, I will pour mine out for you. So this is someone who did not offer their wine to Pharika, and Pharika's like, oh, well, then I'll give you a drink, but you're not going to like it.
Does Rayber mention it? Is it like the practice is to pour some wine in a bowl and then you like pour it out at the altar, or are you supposed to just like leave it when you're making this offering? Do you know? Or
I think you just leave it in the bowl. And
Okay,
then I assume you dispose of it at the end, but it's like this is the bowl for the gods,
right?
Essentially.
Okay. Enchantment removal in black. Also, hey.
Inspire Awe. Not a great card, but could be a reference to the myth of Artemis and Actaeon, where Actaeon spotted Artemis naked and was struck with awe, and as a punishment was turned into a deer and had his own hounds set on him by Artemis. There are varying degrees of whether or not he deserved it, depending on the telling of the myth. Either he's like just literally a bystander and Artemis was really embarrassed and angry, or he was like peeping on purpose, being like, I'm gonna go see a god nude.
Right.
So, yeah, in the card art, obviously she's not naked, but she's just inspiring awe.
Hashtag believe women.
Yeah, exactly. And return to nature. Prophecies like this are pretty common in Greek myth, but they usually have a twist, like Oedipus realizing that he is unknowingly married to his mother and killed his father when he tried to escape that fate, or anytime a king has tried to prevent their kids from having children to escape fate, only for it to bite them in the ass. Here, though, it's pretty much what happens. Heliod tries to fight Elspeth, but because Elspeth has seeded enough doubt that Heliod's spear is fake, she manages to just shatter it with her own shadow spear, which she calls the true Crucior. So, yeah, it's...
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, well, because it's all,
it has like the idea is interwoven with the whole idea of faith, right? And that's kind of central to
it's all about faith,
the mechanics of Theros, right?
It's particularly true, and I mean, faith was always important in the Greek myths. If you don't, if you have to believe in these gods, and that's quite literally how Theros operates. It reminds me actually a lot of the Terry Pratchett book. Small Gods,
right?
One of my favorite Discworld novels, and one that you can read completely in a vacuum from the rest of the Discworld series. Though you should probably just read the whole thing because they're great. But yeah, Small Gods talks about the entire notion that like a god gets more powerful based entirely on belief, right? And it's just if you believe in it, then it's real, and the more people that believe, then the more powerful the god is, and it's. That whole book is dealing with that there's the God that everyone claims to worship is weak and powerless because no one actually believes in the God anymore. They believe in the church.
Okay. I haven't read Small Gods, but yeah.
It's great. So anyway, yeah, the fact that even though it's Heliod and Heliod is a literal god holding his spear, people believe enough that Elspeth is like, no, your spear is fake. That they're like, yeah, we believe you're Heliod, but we're not buying the spear, and that she's able to
what happened with that spear?
Defeat him.
Yeah.
There's a story for Theros somewhere, if you can find it. Anyway, thought that was interesting. Some more notes on cards. Shatter the Sky. So, this is not really a thing that happens a lot in Greek myth. The like god war. The Greek gods usually operate through proxies, whether it's like a whole conflict like the Trojan War, or they just like kill the followers of another god. So, kind of interesting, like this kind of like Armageddon scenario.
Yeah.
Not really a thing in Greek myth.
Okay.
But looks cool. Revoke existence. I love this. Fun fact. Atheism was a thing in ancient Greece. It was also usually very unpopular and the kind of thing that could get you killed or exiled.
Okay.
So the flavor text on revoke existence. The time has come for us to throw off the chains of tyrannical gods and antiquated superstitions.
Right, that didn't make any friends.
Yeah, it's not going to earn you a lot of brownie points with other... I'm talking here about like actual
Greece.
ancient Greece, not characters from myth, which is generally what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
You could be an atheist and not believe in the Olympians and the gods and everything in ancient Greece,
But it probably made it harder to like
get a job,
find a mate, get
Yeah.
a promotion, run for office, you
Yeah.
know, enjoy your evening at a tavern, travel,
Mm-hmm.
right? Probably made all those things harder.
Sleep of the Dead, which now I think was it you playing this card when we did the draft that you were trying to put
I don't
Kurunos
remember.
to sleep? Or
Oh,
maybe
no,
it was your
I had the
Kurunos?
Kurunos. Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I think I was the one that argued for the flavor fail.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. I do like the flavor text. Normally a Cerberus sleeps one head at a time. So I like also it's a Cerberus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Whereas
a
again,
Cerberus.
Cerberus was the name of the dog.
Right.
But I like the idea of like two vigilant heads and one just like one dangly sleepy head.
Exactly.
But Cerberus was put to sleep twice in Greek myth. Once by Orpheus with the lyre, which we talked about, and Aeneas with drugged cake.
Hey, that still works.
Yeah.
We've forgotten how to use music to do magical powers and stuff like we could back in the days of ancient Greece.
Yeah. But
But
you can still knock a dog out with
still
drugged
put
candies.
drugs in cake.
Fruit of Tizerius, or Tizerius. So Tizerius seems to be an equivalent to Tartarus of the Underworld, which was the primordial deep pit that houses the worst monsters and evildoers of Greek myth.
Is that related at all to cream of tartar that you like use to make various sauces?
Well, the cream would rise to the surface of Tartarus.
Okay.
So I guess I'm going to say
It's a little bit sour, right?
yes.
All right. Assume something new every day.
So this particular card, if you can keep up with the T words, this particular card seems like a reference to Tantalus, who tried to serve the Greek gods his kid to test their omniscience. Or he tried to steal ambrosia and nectar from the gods, it depends on the telling, and was punished to be forever stuck in waist-high water just underneath a fruit tree.
Okay.
The fruits would always be just out of reach, and the water would sink if he tried to drink it, meaning he was thirsty and hungry for eternity.
That's
That
the
sounds
worst. Yeah.
Super crappy.
Actually, I could probably think of worse things, but it still sounds really bad.
Funeral rites. So there are precedent of burials in ancient Greece with associated masks. Most famously, the Mask of Agamemnon, in big air quotes, which we talked about in the first episode of this 3-part series.
But not the only mask. Yes, right?
Yeah, but that was the gold one, and that's probably why all the masks of like the Return and everything, and all the funereal masks in Theros are gold, because that is the most popular sort of interpretation. And it's like, yeah, they had gold funeral masks is a cool visual, you know, but it's much similar to sort of like, and all Vikings had horns is like not necessarily accurate. Also, apparently, the Mask of Agamemnon, in air quotes, is from, carbon dating has put it at 1600 BC, which is 300 years before the Trojan War. So, yeah. But gold masks are cool, so everyone likes a gold mask. Storm's Wrath references Zeus's mythological short temper and massive ego.
Nice.
In case you missed it, Zeus is a man-child of a god with the power of lightning. So, there you go. It's just, yeah.
He's not the all-knowing and wise god. He's the all-powerful and reckless god, right?
Underworld Fires is a little weird because the Underworld is not usually described as full of fire. That's a much more
Christian
Christian
thing,
image
Or-
of hell.
right?
So this is a sort of an odd one.
And they've taken that, the painting has kind of described that, right? There's
Yeah.
just a few little teeny tiny fires popping out from, I don't know, what we can assume is just underneath the underworld. The earth has a molten core that maybe, Greek scientists were ahead of themselves, catching that on. So there might be a little bit of fire down there, but
Yeah.
it's not all ablaze.
Allure of the Unknown. This is a reference to the myth of Pandora, which is a weird. There's a music service called Pandora, and I guess I don't know why you would want. Anyway, I think it's a nice name. I guess
It is a pretty name, and that's probably not the only thing that happened to Pandora in her myth.
No, so
So maybe she had some other qualities.
according to Hesiod, Pandora was the first woman
Okay.
created as a punishment by the gods for getting back the fire that Zeus had confiscated due to setting a bad sacrifice precedent. She was given gifts by each of the gods, including cunning, and she was given to Prometheus's brother Epimetheus as a gift, bearing a pithos or jar. Epimetheus accepted the gift, and Pandora proceeded to unleash the horrible things in the pithos onto humanity, dooming humans with things like disease and death. It's basically the box, Pandora's box. The term opening Pandora's box is that essentially Pandora had this box, and they were like, all right, now here's this box, don't open the box. And, it's very sort of like, similar to the Garden of Eden, right? Like, don't eat the apple. Narrator, they ate the apple, right? Exactly. Pandora is like, here's a box, don't open the box. And she opened the box, and all the horrible things came out. And that, this is where, like disease, demons, bad people, everything, the notion of being bad came out of Pandora's box, and only hope remained.
It's funny that in both of these myths, there's like a woman that's scapegoated for this problem of like the world turning bad.
Yeah, weird
right?
how that is, isn't it? Yeah.
That's like, I'm sure I've been told or noticed that before, but while we're on the subject, that's a little weird. I also want to mention this isn't the only card from the Theros, all the Theros sets that references Pandora's box. There's also Pyxis of Pandemonium.
Yeah, that was from the original...
From the first Theros set.
Which I very much enjoyed the flavor of that, which was just, it exiled the top card of both players' libraries.
Yeah.
Face down, so no one knew until you opened the box, and then it was just like, and all of this onto the battlefield.
Right.
It was very, very cool, and yeah, definitely another direct reference to Pandora.
So a Pyxis, I guess, is like the idea of that's the container, like in Theros. The Pyxis is the container, but the real Greek word is a pithos. Is that right, or
is it?
That you were reading, from Raver's notes.
Yes, a pithos.
Pithos, yeah. So there's a similar.
On Allure the Unknown, the character depicted in the Seb McKinnon art is named Pantor, which seems to be a male-presenting version of Pandora.
Oh, cool.
Maybe a little unclear, but they're mixing it all up. So there you go. Speaking of mixing it all up, Heliod's punishment. Heliod has been punished with the combo of two different mythical punishments.
Clearly an Atlas reference here,
yes,
right?
The biggest Atlas, the Titan, who is forced to hold up the sky itself.
But it's also Sisyphus, isn't it?
And also Sisyphus.
Hey, it's the two I know on one card.
Yeah,
nice.
Who has to roll a boulder up a hill for all eternity. That and the punishment of a divine deity like this is reminiscent of Prometheus's punishment for being chained to the rocks and having his liver eaten by an eagle every day. The mechanics of the card indicate that eventually Heliod will be free of this, as obviously that ends up being the case.
No, eternity is just 4 turns. Didn't you know?
Apparently.
Yeah.
In the way that Heracles frees Prometheus. In the original Theros block, there was a card that was a giant who was sort of like Atlas.
Yeah, the bearer of the heavens.
That's what it was. Yeah. And it was very similar. It's a strong image. The whole sort of like the person holding up the globe sort of thing. There you go, bearer of the heavens. Yeah.
I think this notion of like a person or an entity, a being that holds up the whole world, kind of like it's been an easy one to stick with us culturally because people oftentimes in their lives feel like there's too much responsibility, there's too much weight on their shoulders to handle, right? So it's like has that visual kind of.
Well, it's also like people understand how gravity functions, right? And it's like, what's holding that up?
Right.
What's holding that up? How is that up there? Why is the sky up there? You know what I think it is? I think it's a big lad. I think we can't see him right now. He's probably over there.
But he's mad.
There's some sort of absolute unit holding the sky up.
Yeah, a big beefer.
Yeah.
A chonky boy is holding up that sky right there.
Yeah. Dreadful Apathy, referencing Phyleus, which the doomed to the wretched tedium of Phyleus. So we talked about the Grey Merchant of Asphodel and the fields of Asphodel.
Right.
And this is a similar sort of. This is basically what Asphodel.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a scene from the Medium Place, right?
Yeah, and it's
things aren't great there.
This is a place where the unremarkable souls show up, and spend eternity with nothing to do. Which sounds awful.
Buckle up.
I mean, at least if you're getting tortured, something's happening.
Yeah. This is the hell I feel I most clearly deserve.
One with the stars refers the tendency for the Greek gods to put worthy heroes into the sky. Right? Take your place among the stars, says Crufix, god of horizons, in the flavor text for this card. For example, the hero of Orion, one of the more notable constellations in the Northern Hemisphere that I can always sort of be like, oh, there's Orion.
Orion's pretty easy to catch, yeah.
Orion was put there by Artemis, which is sort of like, you're so great, you get to be a constellation forever now. So, who else is up there? Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia's up there. The Big Dipper.
Big Dipper.
Because there was this one spoon that just...
Oh, such a good spoon.
Boom!
The gods were like, man, I love it.
I think every other culture besides ours recognized that one as a bear.
Yeah. I mean, we still call it Ursa Major, but and then there's the little one, the smaller bear. So
imagine being a bear and then like a Greek god just comes along and is like, you're the best bear.
You're so fuzzy.
And then
a different
celestial
god is
gate
like
opens up.
Different god is like, I found this great bear, and the first god's like, I already got a bear, and yours is way smaller, and the other god's like, well, you know what? It's going up anyway. We're doing it.
They can be together.
Ichthyomorphosis.
You said it right the first time.
Thank you.
There should be a penalty for that.
Oh.
Turn to fish.
In On Animals, Alien mentions the pilot fish was once a man, and Apollo fell in love with a nymph named Okiro, and she attempted to escape him. She begged Pompilus to get her to safety, but as he did so, Apollo showed up, captured the nymph, turned the ship to stone, and transferred Pompilus into the pilot fish.
Okay.
Yeah. So
there's a precedent.
This, by the way, this looks like a pilot fish, in case that was unclear.
I didn't know what... Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, just a really ugly fish.
A little big uggo.
Yeah. So, yeah, there is a Greek myth precedent for someone being turned into a fish.
Okay. Don't mess with Poseidon, y'all. Or who was it? Was it one of his children?
In this case, it was Apollo. But
Apollo might be.
Yeah.
Don't mess with Poseidon either.
Inevitable End, yet another reference to everyone's fated end, but also potentially a reference to the time Heracles was driven mad by Hera and killed his wife and children as a result. Something you may also be aware of if you've played God of War, the God of War games with Kratos. Spoilers for the first God of War game, I guess.
I think you're okay at this point.
Probably.
It's 2020, and that game came out when we were kids, right?
Yeah, they're mostly making Raber is mostly making this connection because of the woman and child in the art alongside the cursed man.
Well, there's the mechanics of it too.
Yeah, and
you put it on a given creature, and that might not be the first creature to die because of this.
Exactly, and the flavor text of how many more will die before you accept your fate, right? So it's like you are fated to die, but you can prolong that by killing other people, maybe people close to you. So yeah, it's
imagine
dark.
dealing with this instead of just being dragged down by Erebos' massive whip. This is way meaner, Erebos.
Yeah.
Way meaner.
He's got bad days.
Yeah, for
Sometimes
sure.
he wakes up and he's like, you know what? I'm sick of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I close to home.
Aspect of lamprey. Not only is this based on a real fish in real life, which is awful, but a potential side reference to Echidna, who we've mentioned a bunch of times, one of the mother of all monsters, who is sometimes described as the Tartarian lamprey.
Okay.
So, maybe that's her.
I liked this card in Limited.
In Limited, this card is pretty sweet, actually, yeah. Underworld Breach. Now, this is interesting, sort of like Shatter the Sky. This is one of those not really, because there was never a mass breakout of souls from Hades in Greek myth.
This is all magic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or not dragged to the Underworld, sorry.
Underworld Breach.
Recently pointed in Highlander.
And going to be banned in Legacy tomorrow.
Really?
Or on day of watch. That's my
prediction?
called it. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, there's a deck called Delver Breach in Legacy, which to me, red flag.
All right.
Imagine Delver Tendrils of Agony.
Oh.
That doesn't sound like a deck that should be, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be on some kind of like cheap threats, disruption, and then also you can combo.
So yeah,
We'll see.
There's never been a sort of a mass breakout of like, and again, this is, there's fire, and that's not really a thing with Hades, and everyone's like, oh my god, So that sort of thing never really happened in Greek myth. There were instances where death kind of stopped happening for a while.
Oh.
Like when Sisyphus captured Thanatos, the god of death, and hid him in a box. I love Greek myth so much. Without Thanatos around to carry people to the underworld, people just kind of like stopped dying, which resulted in a lot of problems.
Like when they didn't stop getting mortally wounded, but they did stop dying.
Yeah.
Or they didn't stop getting really old, but they did stop dying.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple.
They didn't stop getting thrown into the sea, but they did stop dying.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple like sci-fi shorts with this kind of premise.
Right.
Like, oh, maybe there's an episode of Doctor Who, right? It's like, what was
Probably
it?
all these things.
I should
yeah.
be dead, surely, right?
Yeah.
Impending Doom. We pegged this one immediately. Haha, nothing can go wrong.
Right.
This is a reference to the Sword of Damocles. In the original story, the courtier Damocles ends up being offered a chance to rule as tyrant for a day by Dionysus II. When he agrees, Dionysus sets up a sword above the throne, dangling from a single horsehair. The point of this is to demonstrate how, despite having immense political power, the tyrant is constantly in fear of uprising and something ending him, and how that life is miserable. Damocles ends up begging not to rule after that. The context here is more sort of like tempting fate, right? He's like, feast for your next meal, maybe your last. So this is maybe a slightly different context, but yeah, that's what that's another phrase from Greek myth that still gets used day to day of like, like a sword of Damocles.
Yeah,
right? It's like, it seems great, but it sucks.
Yeah, there's a few ways to interpret it. I think there's a modern day interpretation that's like, a lot of myths tend to paint, the poor and the trampled as like the heroes somehow by like making them come out, victorious through some clever act. But this one really kind of just like backs up the billionaires, I would say, where you're like, oh, don't worry so much about gaining power or the lives of the powerful. Like they have it bad, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like the idea of the. I mean, it's sort of. I think maybe people use a double-edged sword more often, but the idea of the Sword of Damocles is like something that seems great, but you just have this.
There's a price for it.
Yeah, being an internet content creator, for example, sounds great. It's barely work, right? We just make video for YouTube and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But at any point, YouTube could just be like, oh, we've decided to stop monetizing all of this because someone said something racist. Not even on this channel, like on a different channel. So we've decided to enact a new policy where no one makes money. And it's just sort of, you have this constant ongoing anxiety of like, boy, I hope the whole thing doesn't crumble because of no fault of my own.
Yeah. I really hope this house of cards that I'm living in doesn't just get swept away by a strong sneeze.
Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun.
Ring that bell.
Yeah. A couple more. So we're on to, almost done actually, on to Planeswalkers. So Elspeth herself, not really a lot here, because, Elspeth exists already in Magic lore, so it's not like
she's supposed to be a visitor to the plane.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But Diomedes is a hero who managed to defeat gods and used a spear. So, there's that.
Yep.
Ashiok as a muse. Ashiok is referencing in a mocking way the ancient Greek goddess of song, music, and dance, who are said to be the source of inspiration for artists and poets. In this case, Ashiok is inspiring action from Elspeth to leave the underworld. So they're acting as an inspiration for nightmares. Nightmare muse, right? Because there's the great trailer of Elspeth having the nightmare over and over again, and then finally being inspired to be like, wait, what if I just leave?
I'm getting scared just thinking about the real world and inspirations for Ashiok Nightmare Muse.
Yeah. And Calyx, who is almost like a fury, which is an agent of natural law and order meant to punish those who break the rules.
Right.
Because Calyx, Destiny's hand, Clothis, goddess of destiny, basically was like, hang on, Elspeth is out of order. Calyx, go deal with her.
Fix her.
And he can't, and gets really upset about it. Is it actually? I don't know for sure if that's why his spark ignited.
Oh, okay, maybe
Because
that's his whole story,
I
is
believe that was the case. Is that Calix couldn't close the deal on defeating Elspeth for whatever reason because she defeated him or left. I think like he was unable to achieve his destiny, and so got really emotional about it. Raber notes in the Oresteia, where Orestes is chased by the Furies. That's where the Furies are most sort of notable. You can also see aspects of the various humanity creation myths in Greek myth. For example, Pandora, as mentioned above, an entity created by the gods for a specific purpose. So like, because Calix was like, all right, I need a guy for this, so I'm just going to make a guy. Boom. All right, Calix, I've just made you. Need you to go kill Elspeth, and then so
that's what you do now.
So kind of cool. I'd like to know a little bit more about his character, and it's kind of wild that he's a planeswalker. So like maybe Calix will show up other places. I mean, it feels like he's one of those planeswalkers that's like, I mean, he can planeswalk, but he's only really going to be in Theros because.
They've done that a few times.
They got better at it.
Yeah.
There was a big run for a while of like, and the local planeswalker.
The local planeswalker, yeah. Don't worry. They could planeswalk if they needed to.
Yeah.
But they're here now. The only other time I've seen mention of the Furies was reading Sandman, the excellent graphic novel by Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
Also good. I haven't read Terry Pratchett novels, but I will read a book if it has lots of pictures in it.
None of the novels have pictures.
Not interested. Never going to happen.
Darn.
Yeah, needs to be like really, really pretty for
I
Nelson.
think there might be some. I think there's an illustrated version of Cohen the Barbarian, which might be relevant.
I'm making fun of myself here, but it's probably also true.
And the Silver Horde.
Okay,
that's one of the Pratchett books. The Silver Horde. They're barbarians, right? But they're all like geriatric, like in their 70s or whatever, because they're very good at being barbarians.
Oh, they've just, never been defeated.
Died. Yeah,
nice.
Even though they're very, very old.
And so then we see what their lives are like at that point.
I believe there's an illustrated version of one of those books. Yeah.
You know what does have words and pictures on it? Magic cards that you could buy from cardkingdom.com/LRR.
That's such that was very smooth, but such a low bar of like, you know what else has words and pictures?
Yeah.
I love it. To be clear, no shade. I love that segue.
Okay.
But I also like that it was just like, what's the minimum I can get away with? It was awesome.
I'm glad that my segue game is so on point that I'm being graded and like given a score.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's that.
Cam's not here. I got all my focus on you now.
Check out cardkingdom.com. Put the /LRR in to let them know that we sent you. We get a little kickback, a little affiliate action there. We appreciate that. And also, if you mention somewhere that you would like a button, you can get a little 1-inch button with your order that says, does that have reach?
That has reach?
No, but I attacked with a flying creature. Yeah. So my creature shouldn't die in combat.
I should mention, just because you were sort of like,
yeah.
We actually get no
really?
monetary
They just get to know
from,
how many people came from our thing.
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
Wormwood, because we talk about on AFK, if you use our Wormwood shipping code to get free shipping in North America or 10% off shipping internationally, on those sales, we do actually get a cut of those sales, which is cool. But with Card Kingdom, we get no cut of the sales, but they do sponsor the show.
Right.
So they actually just pay us.
I was reading about the mattress game and affiliate links this week, so I thought I had educated myself and learned what affiliate meant. But I guess it has a variety of
meanings.
That's
the thing. We have an affiliate code with Wormwood.
Oh, okay.
Card Kingdom just sponsors this show.
Okay, sorry. So we just have a special URL that lets Card Kingdom know that you like us.
Yeah. Well, it's
because they want to know.
It helps them know that people are coming from this source,
right? Okay.
Which is why I say it's that lets them know that we sent you. And because there's so many other great Card Kingdom affiliates, and people have asked, but I listen to you and I watch Prof and I watch the Command Zone, who's good like High Five. Friggin' Wheeler's got his own thing now, right? It's like, what thing do we use? And we've always had, look, just use whatever affiliate code you like, but ask for the button.
Right.
Because then they know, even if you're coming in and it's like you got Good Luck High Fives affiliate code on there, but you're asking for a loading ready run button, then they know that you watch both.
I guess you could also just like let them know that you like all the things that you like.
Yeah. You know what?
Let them know you like apple pie.
Write it all down in
Yeah.
the comments thing. Be like, hey, I'm using Command Zone's affiliate code, but I also watch Loading Ready Run and Ben Wheeler and the Professor, and just let them know.
And let them know that you like supporting us at our Patreon also.
At Patreon,
if you feel like it.
/Loading Ready Run.
Because that's good for you.
You don't need to tell Card Kingdom that, though. They don't. I don't think that's going to affect anything either way.
Just kidding. Don't do that.
We appreciate your support because it lets us
keep going
lets
there.
us do what we do.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for listening. I'm Graham.
I'm Nelson.
James is on tech. Heather gets these online. Thank you all so much, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.